Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Hi there,
Hi.
and welcome to Tea Transitions, the podcast for women who've taken the leap to build their life abroad.
Hi, I'm Farah Baker.
And I'm Rose Davenport, and we are your hosts today.
This show is all about the real stuff, the highs, the lows, the real, you know, and moments and everything in between.
And for me, personally, tea have always been that little pause in the chaos, a moment to breathe, a moment to reflect and feel grounded. That's the exact vibe that we're bringing here. An honest conversation in a space that feels warm, safe, and real.
Whether you're settling into a new country or figuring out your next chapter, we hope this feels like a cozy chat with friends who get it, who understand you.
And with that, let's pour a cup and let the show begin. So, Farah, who we got here today?
So today we have our dear friend Gillian, who is based in Denver, in
Welcome,
the
Gillian.
United States.
Thank
Welcome, Jill.
you.
So tell us when your journey began. When did you first, you know, relocated?
I moved to the United States when I was 29. So that would be 2004, maybe
Okay.
2005.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I moved here when I got married to an American, and um, it was pretty, it was kind of I I met him. We were pen pals for 3 years, and we decided, well, I'm going to meet him and see if this works or not. I had the attitude of I packed two luggages. This was either going to work or this was not going to work, but I figured I had nothing to lose. So I basically came to this country with two luggage and nothing to my name. Um, when we met, we decided, okay, we're going to give this a try. And it took me, I couldn't work because I was on just a visitor. So we had to get the paperwork done. And that was about 6 months. And after I got my paperwork and everything, I was approved for a permanent, for a green card. I got a job, started from scratch.
Wow.
With the own since I couldn't drive, getting a job at the airport was hard because it would take almost 2 hours to get there by bus. So I did the next best thing was I got a job at a hotel as a telephone operator. Again, as Farah knows, that was how we met. So it's back to square one. Got
Yeah.
the most basic job I could get, just so I had a work history in the United States, because whatever work history you have in another country really doesn't matter
Count.
Right.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
So yeah.
yeah, sorry. And I know it was a lot of change for you at that point
Mm,
in time. And as you say, you don't drive. You didn't
no.
drive back then, and so eventually you did drive. You got yourself
Yes.
a license to drive, and did life get better for you once you start driving?
Yes, driving was a big factor because unlike Singapore, the United States is so big. So just to get from one destination to another, it could take you 2 to 3 buses, 2 hours
Yeah.
one way. And all the jobs I had required me to do 2 to 3 buses. And in the winter, it's cold and you're waiting for a bus. But I was so afraid to learn how to drive. I didn't learn how to drive till I was 40. So, but after I learned how to drive, I was like, oh my God, why didn't I do this earlier? So,
Yeah.
it would have saved so much time
Yeah.
travel wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be your best advice to people relocating to big countries, right? Learn to
Yes.
drive.
Yes, drive, because that and a cell phone. Oh my goodness, but because I mean, driving has come a long way from printing a paper map to now your
Map.
car has, and
Yeah.
driving is so easy now. I mean, you
Yeah.
could be a novice, but you have the directions on your car, you can't go wrong,
Yeah.
as
Mm.
opposed to printing a map and trying to read the map and drive at the same
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
yeah, to me,
Mm-hmm.
driving was a big deal.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, learning to drive at 40 when you have to go to a driving school with all teenagers, it is no fun.
Intimidating.
So it is, because all of them think they know everything, and they talk through the class, and you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
sit there
Yeah.
to learn. So
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
would say learn the minute you come.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How was your first 30 days in America like?
what I noticed, so I came during the winter, and the first thing I realized in the United States is most malls and places back then, they were closed by 8 o'clock night. Like, you're so used to Singapore, most shops are open to midnight and stuff, and here it's like everything's closed, everything's dark. Um, uh, a lot of people would stare at me and Craig because I'm Asian and he was an American. So you could walk into the grocery store, and they look at you like they just stare. And in the
Mm.
initial beginning, I wasn't comfortable, but after a while, I got to the point where I just don't look. I don't. It didn't bother me.
This
It
doesn't bother
bothered.
you?
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they're gonna look. There's nothing you can do. Craig
Mm.
would get upset. The funny thing was, there was a Japanese couple in the store, and they were giving us dirty looks, and I was surprised
Wow.
because usually it's the Americans that would look at you, but this was the Japanese looking at us, going, "What are these two
Wow.
doing together?" So yeah,
Yeah.
back then it was a while back, so it wasn't as common, I guess, to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it
Maybe
was
not in
really
Denver,
cool.
I would say, right?
Yeah,
Maybe it's
yeah.
Denver.
I wonder that. I mean,
Yeah.
now it's different. I mean, even our neighborhoods, we've seen Asians and we've seen African Americans in our neighborhood. When I first came here, you barely saw anyone that was as
It's
diverse.
not diverse. Yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah.
staying on that subject, how did that make you feel being in a neighborhood that's not diverse?
Very lonely. Very,
Mm.
very lonely, because there
Mm-hmm.
was nobody you could talk to. Like, now I have to say, Craig's family in Colorado was nice, not his
Mm-hmm.
other family. That was a different
Mm.
thing. But you had you kind of felt very isolated because you didn't see anyone you could really like
Relate
connect.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
they were
Mm.
very polite and nice to you. But one thing I did notice was um I got my first hug in Colorado.
What do you
So
Really?
mean by that?
yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So we didn't my mother was not a hugger. She wasn't
Okay.
very, there wasn't really much hugging and stuff. But when I arrived in Colorado, and Craig's stepmom and his dad picked me up, he was working, and they both gave me the biggest hug, and I was like, oh, I could get used to this. Like, that was so nice, and then
Yeah.
as I stayed longer here, it's like people hug like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
normal. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't get that back in
Yeah.
Singapore.
Yeah. It's
Maybe it's
that's
yeah,
go ahead.
maybe
Yeah.
it's different for other people, but for me, that was something I liked.
Yeah.
The other thing was, oh my gosh, their servings are so big here. So
Mm.
we're so used to eating smaller portions, and here it's
Mm.
like everything is huge. Like the
Mm-hmm.
pancakes, my first pancake was like, how do you finish that? It was like two huge pancakes, and I was like, oh my gosh, and we're so used to, you have to finish your food, like clean your
Mm-hmm.
plate,
Yeah.
and it's like that. Hence, I put on quite a bit of weight.
So, what is it that you found after settling down, you know, getting yourself familiar with your surroundings and getting to know people? What is it, the one thing that you found unexpectedly very comforting? Not the hugging, but anything else that you feel very comforting that make you feel good, that make you feel safe, that make you feel like this is it. I can take this. What was that?
It wouldn't be till after I divorced and learned to live on my own
Mm,
and realizing that I've come a long way from a 29-year-old to being able to stand up on my own. Uh,
mhm. That's big.
I had a job that I loved, and I realized that I could do this by
Yeah,
myself. I didn't need anyone. I didn't need a husband. I mean, I could do it. I could do
yeah,
it, and I was happy. I was happy.
Mm.
Uh, Finally, I was in a good place, and
yeah.
I was happy that I felt that I was successful enough to hold a job, and I had pets, and I didn't need anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact
Yeah.
that I was independent, that would be the word, independent.
And it
Yeah,
And
that
boosts and it
you were
boosts your
independent.
confidence.
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
that was
Mm.
a huge, but it took many years to get there
Sure.
because I was so sheltered when I first came here. And I think the mistake realizing that in order to have a credit, you need a credit card. That was a big thing to me too, because
Welcome
Singapore,
to
we
Mm.
didn't
America.
need a credit card.
Hmm.
So
Mm.
you had to open a bank account, but you had to get a credit card. That was the other thing. And I was like, I don't want a credit card. Why would I want a credit card? But here you have to. But I think I relied so much on Craig, my first marriage. I was totally dependent on him because I didn't know how to get anywhere. I was afraid to go anywhere. Um, and that put a strain on the marriage because he felt like he had to take care of me completely.
Mm.
So when after we divorced and I learned to stand on my own 2 feet and I went through therapy and whatnot, it got I was able to reconcile with myself and realize I can do this. I'm fine. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now
That
I'm
you.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's a learning curve, that at some point,
Yes.
because you came from, I know your family background, from a very
Mhm.
sheltered background, to a husband you kind of like married into another
Yeah.
sheltered
Yeah.
environment, and
Yeah.
it was a growing process for you, I would say.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took
Mm.
many years,
Mm. Mm.
but I'm in a good place now and I love my job and I feel like I don't need anyone to make me happy. I think that's the main thing.
But were
And I
Yay.
can do it.
were
Yeah.
there any moments that you say to yourself, cut this BS, I'm going back home? Have that thought ever came to your mind to
When I
this is
divorced,
bullshit.
when
Yeah.
yeah, when I divorced, I was like, do I give up, go back home?
Mm,
I felt like did I fail?
mm,
And
Mm.
then the thing that got to me was I had to think, okay, if I go back to Singapore, I probably can't get a job that pays me the kind of money I'm getting here.
right.
Number one, I
Mm.
would literally be starting from scratch, which
Again.
Yeah.
again,
Mm,
and at the time my mom was not, still had a home. I was like, do I really want to go back and live
live
with
with her.
her?
Yeah.
and that's a whole separate can of
Episode.
worms. Yeah.
Mm.
So I weighed the pros and cons and decided, you know what? My chances of being able to survive better here than going back and starting all over again was I should just plug, just bite the bullet and stay here and figure my shit out.
So what I
So
get from
Mm.
hearing that is, and to our listeners too, is that we will face challenges. It is
yes,
still up to you as an individual to weigh that, right? Your pros and
yes,
cons, and to
yes,
look at what have you grown into becoming the next person in
yeah,
that part of your life. You're very fortunate that you have a great job. You obviously love where you live. And that's also going to be a major
yeah,
impact on individual who moved, right, from one country to the other to
yeah,
realize I gotta try and make this happen for
yeah,
me, right?
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
Because
yeah,
otherwise you defeat the purpose of trying.
Yeah.
yes,
And you will still
yeah,
continue to live in a cocoon that you're afraid to do this.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I
yeah,
think she broke the barriers there herself to
1000%.
yeah,
Yeah,
to pull
hmm,
herself up and say, you know what, I'm gonna do this. We're
yeah,
just gonna roll
yeah.
with the punches.
yeah.
So was there? I'm assuming because it wasn't such a diverse neighborhood or diverse area, there weren't a lot of Asians in that area. So tell us when you found your people.
Oh my. So
Your
Look at
people,
that one, very excited.
your
yeah.
people.
Well, so there's one instance that was a bit sad was I went to a kokoro, a Japanese place by myself. This was when I was separated, and I found my first um, Chinese girl that was working there. And I was so excited. And I was like, oh, do you want to make friends? And I gave her my number. But I think I may have come across as desperate because she never called
Oh
me.
no.
And she wasn't Singaporean. I think she
Mm,
was from China or somewhere,
mm,
but I
mm,
don't think she had an interest. And then down the road, I was on Facebook, and this Malay girl, Riza, she reached out to me and she said, there is a Singapore group. Do you want to come join a potluck? And I was so excited. I went, and that's when I saw my first bunch of Singaporeans.
Mm,
And
mm,
but so we would meet maybe 3 times a year for potlucks and stuff.
mm,
Um, but we never got close as in anything else other than the potluck.
mm.
Um, Unlike you and Rosie and the and the group in Virginia, they weren't as welcoming as they were welcoming, but they just didn't want a closer relationship. I think partly because I lived in Westminster and they lived about an hour away. So
Yeah.
they were from the richer neighborhood, kind of.
Mm.
So as nice as they were, we never really connected outside of that.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
sometimes, I think it's not necessarily a fellow Singaporean that you can click with.
Mm, yeah,
It's just a personality thing.
yeah,
Whether you click with, a fellow Asian or
yeah,
someone else, it
yeah.
is for me. I feel it's a personality thing, right?
It is.
Mm,
And now I do have a couple of friends like Yen from China and T and she's from Vietnam. So I now have actually a couple of friends that we do more stuff rather,
more stuff.
like
Yeah,
we're actually friends. So
yeah.
that's nice. But it's taken how long to,
Mm,
I'm I met Yen maybe 7 years ago, 8 years
mm,
ago, and then T. So prior to that, I didn't have much of a connection with any Asians for that
yeah.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
what
So it's taken me
advice?
a while. What's that?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to other women considering to move abroad? It doesn't matter if it's in America or Europe, like just in general. What advice would you give them?
Well, besides learning to drive, um, I would say try to what I did, I realized was I started going to meetup groups and just where I would join groups like going to the movies, going to eat at places, and that got me out of the house. That got me to I got to go to a restaurant, not go alone, I got to go to a movie without being the only person watching the movie, but you're
Mm.
with a group of people who not necessarily you are friends with, but at least you have
You,
like-minded interest people
yeah.
going somewhere. And then you
Mm.
started talking to them, and that's how you get maybe different friends and stuff. So I
Yeah.
did that. I
Mm.
would I would say do that because you don't want to feel isolated. You don't want to feel like you have nobody.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
even if it means going to a meetup group with strangers, at least you're getting to do something you want to do without doing it on your own. Like we
Yeah,
would go to concerts, we would go to plays and
Mm-hmm.
different
that's
things.
good.
And in that sense, you will at least be able to maybe find somebody with the same interest that you could
Mm.
become friends with.
Yeah.
I I did that. I did that after I separated, and that helped a lot. And
Yeah.
get
I
a
think
pet.
it's Yeah, just that. I think it's about putting yourself out there.
Yes.
This is and the word isolation is so true. If you
Hmm.
don't
Yeah.
put yourself out there, how are people going to know you are there? So if you,
Correct.
you have to do part of the work yourself,
Yes.
And to
of
Yeah.
have
wanting to relate to other people as well.
Yeah.
this mindset too, when you are considering to move, you have to spread your wings
Yes.
and connect yourself not only within your own community, but also the others. For
Mm-hmm.
that reason, the isolation, for that reason, to build a different set of hobbies and connections.
Yes.
That way,
Yeah.
your life is full with activities, full of colors. It
Mm-hmm.
builds a character in you, and
Yes.
that you will not feel so stressed about the life that you are having over there by your,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And so you're not like totally dependent on your husband, because that was my whole thing, was I was so afraid to do anything without him. So
Mm.
my advice would be go out, meet, do things. Like
Right.
your world can't revolve just around one person.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
to, you have to find a way. If you go to work, you, make friends there if you can, although work friends are kind of hard sometimes
Yeah.
because they usually don't want to be friends outside of work. I mean, so I would say just get yourself out there, keep your interest going. Don't just
Yeah.
because you're married and in a
Good
country
advice.
you're not familiar with, you don't
Yep.
do anything, because I think that's really uh sorry, I saw a spider. But that's I think that's my thing, because I that was my mistake, was
Yeah.
I didn't dare do anything.
Yeah.
So
How do you keep
yeah.
yourself grounded, Jill, with a lot of moving parts in your life between work, between personal stuff, between everything? How do you keep yourself grounded?
When I read your question, I was like, I don't know how to answer that one.
Well, you're
So
gonna have to answer me now. I'm sorry.
oh my
Just kidding.
gosh. to I'm a realist, I think,
There you go.
where
There
and
you go.
I operate a lot on common sense. So for me, whenever something that I have to deal with, I tend to go back to common sense and like, okay,
Mm,
if this happens, can I really do anything about it? Or do I work around it and come up with a solution that will work until something else happens. Like
Mm.
I'm always, for me, I always go back to common sense, I guess. It's like, if I can't fix it, what is the next step I can do? So I don't know if that has anything to do with being grounded, but that's just always been me. Like I don't, after I discovered myself, or I figured what I wanted in life or what I could do, is for me, everything happens for a reason, and I need to just go with that and figure it out as I go along. I've never been,
Absolutely.
I can freak out for like 5 minutes and go, well, that doesn't help. So then, then I'm like, okay, what can I do next?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, what do I want to do to fix this problem? Or can I fix it? If I can't fix it, can someone else help me? Like that's just
Mm.
how I just don't freak out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Don't freak out.
I like
Mm.
the fact that you brought up of being practical and use common sense, because unfortunately today common sense is not common anymore,
No,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
no.
So in a nutshell, I think you as an individual uplift yourself from your surrounding, your experience, and your
Mm-hmm.
self-motivation, confidence. Believe it or not, Jill, you have that confidence in you still. And I
Yeah.
think we learn a lot just by listening to your stories today is you don't give up. You just have to
No,
No.
you
push
don't.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also to always value our successes,
Yeah.
no matter
Yeah.
how small they are, to appreciate and know that these are our own personal successes.
Yeah.
Doesn't relate to
Yes.
anyone else, but it's your own battle. And as
Correct.
one of our
Yeah.
former guests said, challenges. These are all challenges to onto yourself, and the
Right.
fact that
Yeah.
you can overcome it, it's your win. So
Correct.
we have to celebrate our successes
Correct.
every
Yeah. And
time.
I've always been just one step at a time, like just tackle one portion. And once that's resolved, then you tackle the next step, then the
Mm-hmm.
next step. That's
Yeah.
always been me, because it's like I break it into little bite sizes,
Yeah.
because if you look at the whole picture, you're like, oh my God, how am I going to fix whatever it is? And it's like,
Yeah.
Mm.
well, let's do this step. And then, okay, if that worked, we can do the next step. Or if that didn't work, what can I do different? I've
Mm.
always been, but that's how and one of the things which I think is, you need to find a job you love, or a job
That's important.
that you can, that you're not going to hate
Mm.
necessarily. You don't have to love it totally, but you will have to want to come to work and want to do the job. If you
Yeah.
That's what I realized. Like, you can get a job that pays you a lot of money, but if you hate the people around you, or you hate it, then you're miserable, and that will
Mm-hmm.
reflect in your personal life as well.
Yep.
So I
That's
think
true.
Yep.
Mm.
enjoying what you do, because that takes up a huge portion of your
Yep.
waking hours, so
Yeah.
you have to like it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very fortunate. I've always told my husband, my now husband, it's like, I'm very blessed. I have a job I love. I can pay my bills. I have a roof over my head. I have animals I love. I I'm happy. It's
Yeah.
it's not, I don't have a Porsche, not that I want one. I would never know how to drive one. But I mean, I think success comes in different forms of what,
Exactly.
Yes.
and for
Exactly.
me, to me, that's a success for me,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
coming from where I came from, I never thought I'd be in this position now. It
Yeah.
took me many years to get here, but I'm contented. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Do I want more money? Everybody does, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm I have everything I could ever want, and
Well,
I'm
Jill,
good.
We are almost time, but in 30 seconds, what would your quote or mantra be that you always go to and remind yourself every morning, every day when you meditate, before you start your day to say that this is me, this is what I need to do, focus. What would that sound like?
Oh my gosh. Everything happens for a reason, and I can do this.
There you go.
Yeah, indeed.
Simple, simple and easy to follow. Don't
Yeah,
Yeah,
create
exactly.
anything that is going to be so confusing for you.
Yeah.
1000%. I like that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. To me, I firmly believe everything happens for a reason, and I can do this is for me. It's like I can do this. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All
All
right.
my life, first husband, divorce, finding myself, becoming what I am today. It all happened for a reason to get me to where I am. You can't look at your past and go, I hate what happened. It's like, no, because if that didn't happen, you wouldn't, then this wouldn't happen, and then this wouldn't happen, and then
Yeah,
I wouldn't be where I am today. It starts somewhere to get to somewhere. So
yeah.
exactly.
Excellent.
yeah,
Well, we have come to the end of
yeah.
our little session today. Thank you, Gillian. If today's episode hits home, we'd love if you'd subscribe, leave a quick review, or share it with someone who might need to hear this. That's how we keep growing this space and connecting with amazing people on their own journeys all
Mhm,
around the world.
mhm.
At T Transitions, every voice matters and every story counts. Yours, mine, everyone, every woman's.
Yeah.
Wherever you are right now, we are cheering you on. Uh, be kind to yourself, especially, and keep showing up as you.
Thank
Exactly.
Thank
you.
you.
Jill, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Glad to
you.
see you. And everybody else, we'll see you in the next session.
Okay.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.